A wild first date, an even stranger wedding proposal, and a serious injury fueled by weed gummies. For Terry Mandel, being the wife of a wacky comedian is clearly no laughing matter. Howie Mandel first met his future wife Terry when he was 12 years old. At the time, they were both waiting in line at a McDonald's. He recalled on the Today Show,
I didn't know her, and I was short a couple of bucks for French fries, and she lent me money. She was like 14 at the time.
Mandel became intrigued by Terry and went on to ask her out. However, she declined the invitation. According to Mandel, she was well aware of the reputation he had developed for pulling outrageous pranks. He offered an example of one of these pranks in an interview with Ability magazine, recalling how he once phoned some construction firms to put in bids on building an extension to his school's library. This led to construction workers showing up the next day to take measurements. Mandel noted to the outlet, "I thought that was funny, but nobody else did." Mandel finally convinced Terry to go out with him while they were in high school, but their first date proved to be unexpectedly exciting thanks to a vehicular mishap. Mandel recalled in a 2018 interview with the Wall Street Journal, "We drove to the movies in my mother's Cutlass Supreme." When interviewed by Today, Mandel admitted that his propensity for silly stunts was certainly not unknown to his date, which came to the forefront as they drove. He revealed that as he drove down a wintry Toronto street, he made a turn and hit a patch of ice. This sent the car careening out of control, which Terry initially believed was on purpose. Mandel was near tears at the time, remembering,
We came this close to death, and she looks at me and she goes, "Very funny."
While Mandel's first date with Terry nearly ended in a car wreck, it seems like a Hallmark Channel rom-com when compared to how he popped the question. He recalled in an interview with Streets of Toronto, "I was sitting in a deli and I'd bought a loose diamond and I put it on the table and said, 'I gotta go to the bathroom, but if you want to make a ring, go ahead.' I'm not a romantic. Neither of us is romantic." Despite that train wreck of a proposal, she said yes, and they wound up getting married in 1980. Mandel told the outlet that he and Terry went to the famed Toronto comedy club Yuck Yucks for their honeymoon. The club's owner, Mark Breslin, gave him a spot on stage on the day after their wedding. Terry sat beside him on a stool as he performed. Mandel recalled of the performance, "I explained to the audience that this was my honeymoon show. Again, I'm not a romantic, but this was a moment that she'll never forget, or she'll never let me forget." Mandel himself has admitted that he's not the easiest guy to coexist with due to his obsessive-compulsive disorder, anxiety, and germophobia. He explained to Streets of Toronto, "People have seen me on television or in concert and think I'm fun, and I probably am for a couple of hours, but living with me is not easy." During the course of her marriage to Mandel, Terry came to realize that what she had initially taken to be his squeamishness about certain things was actually mental illness, a germophobia that sprang from his then undiagnosed OCD. Over time, it became increasingly difficult for Terry to turn a blind eye to his behavior that made perfect sense to him but appeared bizarre to everyone else. A point came when his germophobia had become so severe that Terry laid down the law. Mandel recalled to Today.com, she goes, "I can't do this anymore, and I can't have the children do it anymore. And if you don't get help, that's it." The ultimatum forced him to seek professional assistance, which led to his diagnosis and subsequent treatment. Admitting his OCD had placed a strain on their relationship, Mandel gives his wife full credit for being his rock. He told Today.com, "Terry has been nothing but supportive." When he spoke with Ability magazine back in 2011, Mandel revealed that he and Terry had recently celebrated their 31st wedding anniversary. He also shared some details about her career at the time, saying, "She used to be in retail, but she sold that business and now does real estate." Since then, Terry has joined her husband by embarking on more Hollywood-themed pursuits. Unlike Howie, however, hers have been behind the camera. She became an agent at the LA-based talent agency Abstract Talent, which is owned by the Mandels. In addition, she served as an associate producer on Howie's special on the TV series Cinemax Comedy Experiment. She's credited with special thanks on the 2022 film Silent Night in Algona and her husband's 1983 comedy special, The First Howie Mandel Special. Throughout their lives, Howie and Terry have also had the jobs of parents and grandparents together. Their eldest child, Jacqueline, was born in 1984, followed by Alex in 1989 and Riley in 1992. Jacqueline has welcomed 2 children, while their daughter Riley is also expecting a child. Howie gushed in a January 2024 episode of The Jennifer Hudson Show.
I'm having my 3rd grandchild.
My daughter is pregnant.
Mandel's career was revitalized in 2005 when he agreed to host Deal or No Deal, a hit game show in which contestants were faced with 26 closed briefcases held by models. Each briefcase contained a sum of money, and the contestant was forced to decide whether they wanted to keep the briefcase in hopes of a higher sum or accept an offer from the show's unseen banker.
Deal or no deal.
When Mandel was offered the show, he initially turned it down because he didn't feel that being a game show host was an appropriate gig for a stand-up comic. According to Mandel, he just couldn't wrap his head around how he could string out such a seemingly thin concept for a full hour of television. It was Terry who finally convinced him to give it a try. He recalled to the Gazette, "My wife said, 'You'll see, it's good.'" Ultimately, he took Terry's advice and wound up changing his life. If there's one solid bond that Mandel and Terry have shared over the years, it's laughter. In fact, he shared in a 2009 interview with Good Housekeeping that he realized that Terry was the person he wanted to spend the rest of his life with when she made him laugh. He told the outlet, "It was wonderful to meet a witty woman. The biggest void that people can have in their lives is a sense of humor. Spending your life with someone who doesn't have that wouldn't be palatable." While laughter has always brought them together, so has being apart. Mandel explained while speaking with Streets of Toronto, "The more career I have, the better the marriage is. People ask us, how do you make it last so long? My wife says it's because I'm always on the road. Absence may not always make the heart grow fonder, but it's been the secret sauce that had held together the Mandels' union for 4 decades and counting." He added, "When I'm up in Canada filming Canada's Got Talent and she's not there with me, it makes her love me even more." Terry is a committed lover of animals, and she has become a huge proponent for animal rescue. Mandel joked about that particular word choice when he was interviewed by Pet Lifestyles magazine, saying, "She calls it rescuing. I call it taking. She takes any animal in her path." To make his point, he launched into an impromptu comedy routine, pretending to answer a phone call for Terry from a wildlife rescue facility. He joked to the outlet, "We have her crow here. You know, the one she found by the side of the road? Just advising we are ready to set it free back into the wild now. It's healed."
My wife loves animals, any kind of animal.
Howie put that love to the test when he surprised her on her birthday by renting a live elephant and transporting it to their backyard. Not only did Terry not appreciate the gesture, the elephant also did extensive damage to their yard. He revealed on The Kelly Clarkson Show,
There was $45,000 damage. The sprinklers, the trees, and elephant poo removal is not a service that is nearby.
Mandel wasn't laughing when he woke up one night while he and Terry were staying in a hotel in Las Vegas and discovered what looked like a crime scene. Mandel recounted the story while appearing on Live with Kelly and Mark, revealing that Terry was a bit more tipsy than he realized when they returned to their room from dinner. He said, "In the middle of the night, she got up, and I don't know where she was headed, but she headed into the wall."
She slipped, went down, hit that on her eye, then fell on the floor and broke her cheek.
He continued by describing what he saw, telling the hosts,
"Blood is pooling out, and I freaked out."
He then placed her on the bed and panicked. Mandel revealed,
I saw her head, and you can actually see her skull.
No.
It opened up. No, so I freaked.
Thankfully, Terry completely healed with no evidence she'd ever been injured. Mandel said his wife didn't even have a scar after her injury. He later clarified his claim that his wife hadn't been drinking, telling TMZ that she had actually taken marijuana edibles. He told the outlet, "She doesn't have an alcohol problem. She took gummies."